As I start recording this today on the TV screens in front of me, I see pictures of Jammu being under attack. Jammu has this literally scores of shells coming at it. Could be loitering munitions, could be drones, could be whatever. And I'm quite sure those are being responded to adequately. There are also stories on attacks in Pathankot at Pathankot Air Base and Bagmer as well. Now that is an ongoing story. You are in the middle of a war. Let me say at this point, middle of a low intensity conflict, which could lead to something else. That's why I think it's good for us to get some of the concepts right, because this is a fast unfolding situation. One can't even do running commentary. That's why we try and get some insights. So three interconnected expressions have acquired currency in our conversation since 22nd April, the day of the outrage in Pahalgam. These are kinetic response, escalatory ladder, and off-ramp. These three. Before we get into the details of these terms, however, comes a term used so rarely these days, it sounds exotic, which is casus belli. Casus belli, some people say casus belli also. I am employing this term despite my venerable news editor, late D.N. Singh's orders to never use foreign words until an English alternative was available. Somehow, cause to justify conflict or war does not sound so convincing as casus belli. The casus belli in this case is Pahalgam, and it is astounding and disappointing how it has faded away from not just international media but our own as well. If that massacre hadn't taken place, we would not be here today. Pahalgam thus was the first step on the escalatory ladder. Why did the Pakistanis do this? Pakistani established that their proxies do this. That's a point we'll discuss maybe in a forthcoming article or national interest or cut the clutter episode, but not today. Things are moving too fast and they are too complicated. This story isn't going anywhere soon. It will stay with us and we'll stay with it. Meanwhile, we are also familiar with the successive steps on this ladder already climbed. The diplomatic staff cuts, vaporizing of people to people contact, visa denial, ban on overflights, and finally the holding of the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance by India. And the Pakistani counter with the threat to respond with reserving the right to do just this with the Shimla Agreement of 1972. All of these, as we climb these steps on the escalatory ladder, the question often asked was, will there be kinetic action? And if so, then when and what kind? Kinetic action now implies the use of military force to achieve your objective or to deliver a message, as differing from diplomatic warfare, information warfare, economic warfare, lawfare, sanctions, and so on. India took that step on the ladder on the intervening night of May 6 and 7. Pakistan followed the next night with surprisingly ambitious targeting of Indian air bases across our north and west. This is a very vast region. They were not trying to carry out any massive damage or hit aircraft yet. The nature of the Pakistani attacks, instruments used, and targets chosen would introduce us to another term, as you might need to get familiar with as the story unfolds. It's called SEAD, SEAD, Suppression of Enemy Air Defense, sometimes also called DEAD, which is destruction of enemy air defense. If you can suppress or even partly degrade your rival's air defenses, it gives your air power, which is fighters and missiles, fighters, bombers, missiles, that much greater freedom and safety to operate. Remember, on the night of May 6 and 7, India carried out the attacks without any SEAD activity preceding it. It might have made the action safer for the IAF strike forces, but would have been like waking up the Pakistanis with an air raid alarm. This should help us also appreciate better the degree of difficulty and danger our strike elements faced that night. This SEAD, is precisely what Pakistanis tried on the night of May 6 and 7. If they had succeeded even partly, they would have come with larger attacks. This is the compliment India paid back with its drone attacks on Pakistani targets. Each Indian target was chosen precisely with the same objective: suppression of enemy air defense, SEAD. If Pakistan responds tonight, as it's already doing, it will be the next step on the escalatory ladder. That brings us to the concept of off ramp. It is really like when you are speeding on a highway, flying on a highway, and want to get off to rest, get a snack, and in the strategic discourse, make a halt to hostilities or return to negotiation or peace. It can also apply to a bull, for example, in the stock markets. It can apply to a bull who continues to invest breathlessly, even the markets are declining, and then at some point either loses nerve or embraces the prudence to stop or get off the ramp. In the India Pakistan situations or crisis, off ramps have come either through foreign mediation after months of kinetic warfare over Kargil and a long standoff with or Parakram. In each case, it came with foreign mediation. Or when a situation made it possible for both sides to claim a win of some kind because you can convince your own audience. Think Pulwama, when India hit a terror base in the Pakistani mainland for the first time, a point was made. Pakistan had a pilot, Indian pilot as POW. His return under Indian pressure became the off ramp for both India as well as Pakistan. The ongoing story does not promise any such dramatic resolutions. On the other hand, every night sees the next step on the escalatory ladder climbed. Given how late action takes place at night, I would suggest anybody interested in tracking it to get some sleep in the day. This is keep your seatbelts tightened at all times juncture in our history.